Hello, family. There's been this concern about African borders and Africa having open borders, and that's why we have the African Continental Free Trade Area. But is it working? So we saw this African minister talking about it and explaining how it came to be that Africans or in Africa, it is so difficult to travel from one country to another. One, because of the visa restrictions, and two, because of the cost of transportation. Like taking a plane from Nairobi to Johannesburg or from Accra to Johannesburg is the same price of you taking a plane from Rome to New York. It's crazy. Traveling from Accra to Johannesburg becomes more expensive. We are going to listen to this video and react to it as it goes on. It's about a Kenyan minister who was talking about this from the beginning, from when it happened. That was about 1884 when they met in the Berlin conference. So let us listen to this guy.
In Berlin, Europeans sat down and subdivided our continent, at times separating a brother from a sister.
Actually, many people don't know that, but when you look at what they call tribes, because tribe is not what they call tribes. Tribe, the word tribe came from a Greek word for something try, saying try. So it was something like three. Ours were nations. We had one Zulu having their own king, the Bele having their own king, Luya, the Wanga kingdom, it was kingdoms. So we can only call them like micronations. But these guys came and divided us. And that's why you find that when you go to Ethiopia, you find the Oromo people. When you go to Kenya, they are there. When you go to Kenya, you find the Maasai. When you go to Tanzania, they are there. That is the reason, and that's what happened.
After they finished doing that and colonizing us, they went ahead and taught us to fear, hate, and keep away from each other. So you are my neighbor, but I fear you.
Yeah, and it's very, very, very hard to find someone from BURKINAFASO traveling to Ethiopia. It's difficult. Actually, when you go into our countries, you find that there are people who have not even gone beyond their borders. You go to Tanzania and someone doesn't even know what is in Zambia. They don't know what is in Kenya. It's crazy. And it's one community.
And they want to mingle with you. Let me give you an example and use a few African examples. Today, it is easier for a European to travel within Europe without requirement of a visa. They can trade, make money, visit each other, spend money, and the European Union area, and they make a lot of money, they're becoming rich and rich every day. In Africa, our former colonies and what they taught us still prevails. Then they mingle among each other. Today in Africa, the reality is that for an African to visit a European nation, an ordinary African, to visit a European nation is like, let me give you an example my teacher used to use. It's like trying to milk an elephant.
Yeah, it's like trying to milk an elephant. But my question is, do we need to go there? Because we have everything in Africa. You know that we have everything in Africa. If I want winter, I can go to Johannesburg. If I want the desert, I can go to Burkina Faso. I can go to Mali. If I want beaches, they are everywhere. If I want a forest, there's the Congo forest. We only need to protect these resources and, live with nature, But going to Europe, because they see us as immigrants who are unwanted, it's like you are milking an elephant, like he says. So it's very difficult getting a European visa. But what happens when they are coming to Africa? We say it's tourism and we are promoting tourism. So, well, They don't want tourism for themselves.
Because of the visa process. However, for a European to visit an African nation, most of our nations, it is like a walk on the beach. It's like going to have a cup of tea. But then that is not the problem. The tragedy is that now for an African to visit a fellow African within the African Union, the visa restrictions in many of our nations, among us, between our brothers and sisters, is like trying to brush the teeth of a crocodile.
I want to brush the teeth of the crocodile. I want that visa.
They came, divided us, and they have taught us to keep each other from each other. Them, they're mingling with each other and making money and growing, but they have taught us to hate each other. We need to behave like the Europeans and allow for the free movement of people and trade. Our development agencies, such as the African Union Development Agency and others, cannot really succeed when there are all these restrictions among ourselves. To this end, in our contribution to this continental aspiration, Kenya is committed to progressively, and we are moving very fast by the end of this year, to abolish visas to citizens from African Union member states to make it easier to invest and do business in Kenya and across the continent.
That was wonderful, and they said it. But the question is, did they abolish? No, we just have a new visa called ETA, and people claimed it's expensive. But well, for some people, like people from BURKINAFASO, people from Nigeria, people who used to pay to come to Kenya or to go to Kenya, now can get a cheaper visa. But you know, it restricts you in a way. What we needed was visa on arrival, visa for business, easy way of getting visa for business.
Growing a business.
We are going to open the borders of Kenya. We do not fear our fellow Africans. Come, travel to Kenya, live, do business in Kenya, trade, make money in Kenya. And we hope we'll get reciprocity with the rest of you. Let us open our continent so that we can make money and live together. Let us remove the shackles of colonialism that are still embedded in our heads.
Yeah, we need to remove the shackles of colonialism. But when we talk about this visa, what we needed was a free visa, not, ETA, a visa which is not free and which is not a visa. But good, what he's saying is very good, and I support him wholeheartedly. And I wish all African countries can open up their borders for our brothers and sisters across the continent.